Global Women Enrichment is going global. We are so excited. We have our Global Women Enrichment Conference happening in the British Virgin Islands in Tortola on March 22nd at Maria's by the Sea.
The Global Women's Conference 2025 with Mistress of Ceremony, Mrs. Chandria Turnbull, featuring keynote speakers Dr. Naomi Bloomer, special presentations by Dr. Arlene Smith-Thompson and Dr. Arlene T. Penn. Get ready for heart-touching moments with the likes of Charis Hoyt, Samis Donna Klein, and the one and only Brent Hoyt. A one-of-a-kind conference featuring roundtable discussions, live entertainment, eats and drinks, fabulous prizes to be won, and one person will walk away with a grand prize, a treat somewhere in the world. Get your tickets today from JNC Trading or Eventbrite.com.
The 20s and the 30-year-olds, you are encouraged to come. You are definitely, it's something that you do not want to miss. And bring your friends, bring your co-workers. I mean, there's just going to be a lot of surprises, but it's all going to be great stuff.
We look forward to meeting you.
Again for taking some time out of your day to firstly celebrate International Women's Day, and secondly take some time to listen to the wonderful ladies from WIN. WIN is an organization Maples has been supporting for quite some time now, so they are going to tell us a little bit about what they have been up to. But before we start there, I have some stats about what Maples has been doing to support them. So as women achieve power, the barriers fall, and as society sees what women can do, and as women see what women can do, there will be more women out doing things, and we will be better off for it. So that is a quote by one of our very favorite legal people, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So Maples has been very excited to support WIN since 2022. Our very first contribution was actually for International Women's Day, where we did a $5,000 contribution. In 2023, we actually did even more. We did $7,500. In 2024, we did even more than that, although just a little bit more, so $7,600. And in 2025, we plan to do pretty much the same thing. So for this particular event, we have organized gas vouchers for some of the women that WIN support, because obviously fuel is expensive. And people need cars to get to their jobs, and we will be supporting that. We've also organized $1,000 worth of grocery vouchers, which is also extremely helpful. And lastly, we have 20 goodie bags, which have some essential items, toiletries, sanitary products, which people sometimes, you know, they're luxuries, and we want to make sure that people have these things available to them. And then slightly off topic in terms of support for WIN, Maples also supported the back to school book distribution. I think that was last year, which was helping students basically assisting to purchase the books for the start of school. So I will move very swiftly on to let lovely Miss Green tell you a little bit more about the impact of this type of support has on the wonderful people at WIN.
Thank you very much, Kate. And thank you to Maples for believing in WIN. Now, coming here today on the eve of International Women's Day, my talk will be a little different, but we have a nice treat for you because we bought our security. No, we bought we brought one of our testimonies to speak with you, to share how impactful your contribution has been to the organization. But before she comes, I just want to share a bit about International Women's Day. Because come tomorrow, we're going to be celebrating the achievements of women worldwide, which is great. But I think we need to step back a little bit to recognize gender parity, which is a very important move for WINBVI. When we talk about gender parity, of course, it comes to gender violence. And we're not talking about physical violence. It goes beyond that. We're talking about the emotional and the psychological harm that many of us walk day to day with these effects, and we have no outlet or no place to find reform. And that is what WINBVI aims to do as we provide assistance, we provide resources to women and children, because this actually affects generations upon generations. And if we don't equip people with the tools to not only identify when there's some kind of psychological or emotional abuse going on, then we face, it's going to be reality that our society will be just a bunch of damaged people. You agree? Mm-hmm. And so I want to actually leave you guys, I'm not leaving yet, but just discuss 3 things that I think as an organization you can do personally and professionally, because again, the theme that they have this year is very dear to me. It's accelerate action. And I like that because we've been talking about domestic abuse and all these different types of traumas, but we haven't really done much about it. There's been studies done. I think we have enough data that we can use to actually turn them into action. Agree? Yeah. Agree. So there are 3 basic things that we can do, and you're probably doing it already as an organization. And the first thing is to commit to training and awareness. And this gathering is one of such, bringing awareness to what's happening in BVI. The second thing we can do is advocate for clear anti-discrimination and anti-harassment policies where we recognize the unique experiences of all genders. And the third thing is to create a supportive, inclusive culture where emotional well-being is prioritized for everyone. If we practice this, if we're intentional about doing this day in, day out, can you imagine, though, in your workspace what productivity would look like? That would be nice. And so WINBVI, we have a program called Reclaiming Me, which is actually a step in that direction. And it provides a safe space for women to come and get tools and be reformed and feel good about themselves, enhance their self-worth, their self-confidence. And so with me today, I actually brought one of our true testimonies. She's been in our program for 3 years plus, right? And because we want to demonstrate that when you knock on the door, it doesn't matter who you are. We're now servicing not only women and children, but also men. And that's why I'm happy to see that we do have a balance in this room. And you need to know when you knock on the door, there's no shame, there's no judgment. There's somebody saying, hey, I need help. I need some emotional support to get through this season of my life, right? Because at any juncture, we can hit a block and you'd have nowhere to go. So we've created and crafted a holistic approach that addresses the mind, the body, and the spirit to help people to heal. And so without any further ado, I'm going to ask Anelia to come forward and share her story with you.
My name is Anelia Sharp. I'm the mother of 3 children, ages 13, 11, and 6 years old. I have been part of the WINBVI parent program, now the parenting group, for over 3 years plus. I have seen the advertisement on Facebook about the program. I went on the website, downloaded the forms, and clicked on all the boxes that would apply to me. I was struggling with internal battles that I was covering up with a smile on my face. Every Tuesday evening at 6 p.m., I would be in high anticipation for what the next topic would be, the next affirmations, and what would be on the menu. My children will always look forward to visiting for that hour and a half as well to play with other children. Each week was a different speaker who would touch on topics such as your spiritual life, budgeting, craft, conflict resolution, and self-care. This program is where I learn about self-love that is non-negotiable and to set boundaries. Whenever the WINBVI has a retreat and I'm not working, guess what? I am there. I believe that the healing journey is an ongoing process. It never stops. After 2 years in the program, Alisa Green enrolled me in the Reclaiming Me online program. The classes lasted for over 1 year, which is only once a week, every Thursday at 7 o'clock in the evening. For an hour and a half? Yes. In this class, I graduated from that program and I would still attend from time to time. In this class, I shed some layers. In 2023, I was given the opportunity through a donor to attend the Discover the Divine conference in Athens, Greece. I met with different ladies from around the world who had the same stories as me. I am now connected to a network of women who are just a text or a phone call away. I had a soul cleansing and also shed some layers as well. Before I left Greece, I was feeling lighter and I had a clearer mindset. I'm still a work in progress, but I'm still not in the same place where I used to be 3+ years ago. I would recommend this program and other programs that the WINBVI has to offer to other women and men who are willing to commit and start their healing journey. As you can see, the WINBVI program does not discriminate. Thank you, Maples Group, for helping us and assisting with any way you can, whether small or big. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you for sharing your story.
Amelia, thank you very much. And if I can share, she was actually one of my personal mentees, so I'm so proud of her. Knowing where she came from to where she is today, she's so much more confident. Her self-esteem has really gone through the roof, and she's actually one of our more senior persons in the program right now, helping other mothers along. And you see her uniform, so we know she's built for everything. But imagine with me someone coming up to you, and again, it doesn't matter who it is. And with our mentorship program, we say there are 2 important things you have to make sure you take care of when you get paid. That's a roof over your head and food for the family to eat. But sometimes when you're juggling, you're not able to meet all of them. And so thank you to Maples. There were times when we were able to take this bag and they didn't ask anything of us, and we took it and they said, oh my God, thank you so much. We weren't expecting it. We have a meal tonight. There's some when we meet with them that we have the conversation. These are updates that we would do on a regular basis. And all of a sudden something would tell you, just give them this love offering. And they'll be, oh my gosh, how did you know I really needed that $20 or that $40? And what was it needed for? Well, I have to take the kids to school, but we have to catch a ride because I don't have any money for gas. And that's the reason why, thanks to Maples, we're going to be able to bless some ladies with gas vouchers so that they can go to work and take their children to school. So Maples, your contribution, your commitment to WIN is not in vain. We thank you. I came here with my team. We thank you, and we're looking forward to a long-lasting partnership with you. I know Kate talked about the vouchers for the textbooks. Imagine we have children going to school, but they don't have a textbook to learn from. Education is very important to this journey that we are on. So we're thankful. Last year we were able to bless, we had about 65 persons that registered for that back to school program. And we were able to give, I think it was 35 vouchers out to families to get not only textbooks, but whatever supplies they needed for school. And that was because of you. We also did laptops. We're going to be doing it this year again with your contribution and another corporate partner. We're hoping to be able to do more because the need is definitely there. And we want to bridge that gap where others are not, because like I said, gender parity, the abuse is important for each and every one of us to be responsible to try and address that. So with that, thank you again, and I would be open to any questions that you would have about WIN.
I don't have any questions now.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. She'll tell you all about that.
I'm so glad you asked, because we're always looking for volunteers. And right now, because our services are so high in demand, we're really looking for some good mentors. You have to be committed to walk the journey with these women. And like I said, there's no discrimination. It doesn't matter. But you have to be willing to sometimes get that phone call at 11 o'clock in the night, where people are saying, I'm pulling my hair out, I'm going into a depression, whatever the situation is. Sometimes it's just to give an ear, not always giving advice, but they want to have someone to talk to. So we're always looking for volunteers. And if you're serious about being a mentor with us, there's just a couple of trainings that you would have to go through to make sure that you're fit and proper for the journey. And then we welcome.
How many women do you have present?
In our parenting program, and I heard one of my team reminding me about the Tuesday program, we're always looking for, I'm going to come back, we're always looking for extra hands. Sometimes we have 21 children at one time there, and we have about 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, I'm going to say babies, meaning they're 2 and under, right? So while the others are able to be entertained, we have a structured program for the children as well. We also have to occupy the babies for that period of time, you know, for the hour that we're with them. So we're always looking for extra hands. If anybody wants to volunteer on any given Tuesday, just let us know and you can pop by. How many women we have in our parenting program right now? On an average, we have about 10 to 12 gather, and we try to keep it a small group because it's more intimate. It allows them to feel comfortable to share, to learn, and to really take in what we're trying to do with them. So it meets for 10 weeks at a time. So I think this week we're going to take a pause for 2 weeks to, you know, reshuffle the program a little bit, look at what worked, what didn't work, and we come back again. And sometimes, like Anelia said, she's been there for 3 years. She doesn't want to stop. That's because she's getting something every time. It's giving her that extra boost to be the best person she can be for her children, right? And so that aside, with our community outreach, we have about 25 families that we support, right? But, and I know I didn't delve a lot into what we do, but I had a question asked of me this past week when I participated on a panel discussion on domestic violence with the Eastern Caribbean Women Judges Association. They had a regional discussion on it, and they were talking about safe houses. There are times when we get calls for people from domestic situations where we have to put them up in a hotel, or we have to find some secret place where we can put them away from the abuser. And so sometimes there was a point where we had an apartment or a couple of apartments rented. But when that security was breached, we had to get rid of that space. And so we try as much as possible to protect what we're doing, to protect the people that we are serving. And that is actually an expensive feat that we really don't want to be doing a lot of, because we work with social development, and when they're not able to provide, they send them to us. So that's why we have to consistently be fundraising, because trying to find funds to put somebody up in a hotel for a week, that's a lot, right? So we do quite a bit with other nonprofits. And again, I can tell you WINBVI is the third on the list. They call social development. If they're not able to assist, they would call FSN. I'm not sure how the hotline is working right now, but the third call would be WINBVI. So that speaks volume for us, and that's the reason why we're very committed to what we're doing for the community.
Road to China.
All of you know, one of the ways that we actually came up with to help fund the organization is to have an annual fundraiser where we crowned annual ambassadors. We can call them queens. They're queens. We're all queens. But we crown them so that they can represent and be the voice for a lot of things that are currently changing in the community. So we've had, how many of you are familiar with the cervical cancer campaign that we do every year? I see one head go. You are? Okay. It's open to everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, right? You can call, when we're doing it again, call, you register, you can do that. That's one of our queen ambassadors doing that. This year, we have one talking about mental health and mental wellness, because that goes back to what I mentioned earlier about emotional and psychological abuse. We have to look after our mental wellness. And there are a number of ways that we can do that, right? Support groups. Yeah, we talk about counseling. People think that going to a counselor is crazy, but it's not. It's really good, and you should do it. If you're not doing it, you should do it, and do it once a month, because it helps to bring clarity. And again, that would boost productivity in the workplace, right? But what Kathy is talking about when we say road to China is that the work that we do here in the BVI, it goes international. So those ambassadors get the opportunity to represent us on international platforms like Mrs. Globe. And the reason we align with them is because they're doing exactly what we're doing, but for an international, more global audience. And we also benefit having the nonprofit when they raise funds for the WIN Foundation International, and we're assisting with that. We actually get some returns on that for our programs. And so our ambassador is headed off to China this year, in a few weeks actually, to represent us there. And she will be talking about her platform, which is mental wellness. And what we're hoping to do this time is have a cocktail reception in Hong Kong, because we usually would go to Hong Kong first, get your visas, and then go over to Shenzhen. But what we want to do is bring awareness to the social climate of BVI and see if we can build relationships with philanthropists in the area, because it's not just for business for BVI. We know that persons over there also have interest in our social well-being. And so we want to build relationships with them abroad so that they would help us in our quest of hopefully having a center where we can house women, whether it's on a temporary purpose, and help them with programs of reform. That is the plan for this year. That is my prayer that it would happen. And we're looking forward to much success when we go over to China this year. So I just want to introduce my team for a bit, because they're here, they came to support. Debbie, who's there smiling. Debbie is the VP of the organization. We've been at this together since the beginning, before we were this structured, trying to help. I think we were working with the Rainbow Home at the time. And I think that's a facility that we really need to get back in the play, because right now we're having an issue where we have minors not having places to live. And when I say minors, once you're not 18, and then the system can't help you. But if you're in an abuse situation and you really have to get out, the Rainbow Home is where they used to go. So we have to try to find a way to get that back in action.
For those of us who aren't here as long, maybe, the Rainbow Home, I hadn't heard of it before. Where was it, or what?
But you sound like me 14 years, no, more than 14 years, when I came back and I was like, why do we have a Rainbow Home when everybody has an aunt or a cousin or somebody that they can go by? I was so surprised by it. But it's actually located in Lower Estate. It's a two-story home that they've renovated, and they had children there. You're familiar with it? Yeah.
It's like a foster home, basically.
Yes, it's like a foster home. But I really was surprised by it. And the community that we had before I left is what we need to come back to, in terms of, if my sister is having a hard time, I'm going to take her kids. I'm not going to have them going to the Rainbow Home, that kind of thing. If I have an aunt, a cousin, you must have somebody that can help.
You think that's broken down a bit?
It is. That was a big eye-opener for me, to see that I know somebody that has a sister here, but your children, all of them, in a foster care, when somebody else could have easily. I mean, we even had a community where you can go and sleep by your neighbors for a few nights, you know? So I think we need to get back to that. One of the calls we have been making, because we don't have the funding to put people up in hotels, there are no one-bedrooms available that are affordable for people that fall in these accommodative situations. We've been asking people, if you have a house with a spare room that you can give us for a month, call the WINBVI line and just register your interest, because sometimes we need that. There's times when I have to leave my house at 9:30, 10 and go pick up a young person off the street, knowing I don't know where I'm going to put them. You know, and then we have to be calling around, trying to see if somebody could help us for 3 days, 5 days, until we get the situation under control. But if you have a home with a spare room that you're willing to assist, it is needed. It is needed like yesterday. Yes, thank you. I was reading. So Debbie is a VP, then we read off the questions, and then our finance director, Asha. She is a very good finance person. You can't spend a bad cent with her. But she's a stickler, very good, and we're happy to have her on the team to help guide, you know, what we're doing financially, tell us when we could do something, when we can't do it, and try to stick to it, and even fundraising to try to build our funds. Anelia, she's one of us. And then behind the camera, we also have Kathy, who is our PR person. She's been telling our story from the beginning, and she's a part of the team, part of the advocacy, and we just gel real well together. Okay? So again, Maples, thank you so much for having us this afternoon. We appreciate the partnership. Thank you, Diana, Kate. These are my two go-to persons, and also for the team to see who you are. And trust me, we're going to make some women happy this weekend.
Yay!
Thank you.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.